On our meeting. As our board takes a new shift, we ask a special blessing on it, Lord. Help us through as we start our budgeting process this coming month and the next couple of months, and we ask for your wisdom and your counsel as we move through the summer months and with where the commission will be going. We ask a blessing on all of our staff for the job that they do, special blessing on all of our first responders who put their lives on the line to protect ours. We ask a blessing also on all of our citizens as they're still finishing up summer vacations and getting ready for school to reopen. We ask that they have a good year. And Lord, as always, we ask a special blessing on our military. Wherever they are in the world, keep them safe and bring them home to us. We ask all of this in your name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, we have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Grogan?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Keller?
Here.
I'd like to now turn it over to the attorney, Scott Goodson.
Thank you. Just kind of want to go over the process for our special election with the mayor's retirement. Pursuant to the code pursuant to the charter without action, Mayor Grogan, previously serving as the mayor pro tem, automatically becomes mayor to serve out the term until a new mayor is elected. Because the retirement came outside of 6 months from the general election, we need to have a special election to elect a new mayor. Tonight, the City Commission needs to do two things. The first is to appoint a mayor pro tem, one of the other commissioners to serve in that role, and two, to set the time for the special election. According to the charter, that needs to be done, and that election needs to take place within 90 days of the vacancy coming due with the mayor's retirement. Along with the date for the special election, City Commission should select a date for the runoff election. So we have recommendations, staff recommendations, in working with the Supervisor of Elections. Bill Cowles is here tonight, can help answer any questions you might have on the special election. City staff is recommending a special election to be held on October 27th with the runoff on November 24th, if the runoff is necessary. So, Mayor, I think the first order of business would be to elect a replacement mayor pro tem. Until the new mayor is elected, you would then return as a district commissioner and return as the mayor pro tem until you're replaced at the next general election, but we need a new mayor pro tem for the interim until we reach the special election.
Yeah, do we have any suggestions?
Well, Rosemary, Commissioner Wilson will be the next up for mayor pro tem, so she can serve. I would say move her up to that to serve till you go back to the other and let her serve as mayor pro tem, because she's next in line for March, right?
Yep.
You better not go anywhere.
I don't plan on it.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have do we need to have a vote, make this?
Yes.
Or do we? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson to elect Commissioner Wilson as the new mayor pro tem to serve for the next 3 months, and seconded by Commissioner Keller. All those in favor? All in favor, vote. Passes unanimous. One other thing, Scott, can you explain about the voting now, since there's only 4 of us?
Yes, I can. So we will have 4 commissioners serving until the new mayor is elected, and when we have our 5th member of the City Commission. So for purposes of adoption of resolutions or passing anything, the same rules apply as far as 3 votes to get to approve anything. If we're short on if one commissioner is not here and we only have 3 for a meeting, in order to adopt an ordinance or resolution, we would have to be unanimous. All 3 would have to vote and approve an ordinance or resolution. If we're down to 3 and it's not an ordinance or a resolution, we can approve that by a majority vote. We do have some special provisions when it comes to the budget. As you know, when it comes to adoption of the millage rate, certain categories need to be approved by a supermajority, certain also need to be done unanimously. Since we're down to 4, there is no distinction between supermajority and unanimous. Both those categories would essentially be a unanimous vote of all 4 commissioners.
Thank you. And I'd just like to say a word. It's with great honor and it's with the utmost respect for the city that I undertake the responsibilities as mayor. I would like to thank the past Mayor S. Scott Vandegrift and the City of Ocoee Commissioners for allowing me this opportunity. Last year, we, the City Commission, met to discuss the future plans of the city and how to best manage economic development and fund and capital projects to foster growth. The Commission here now made a unanimous commitment to focus on the city's infrastructure to allow for the expansion of future business and the development of a vibrant downtown. As mayor for the next few months, I plan to keep the Commission dedicated to this vision. We are nearing the budget process, and without question, this will be a challenging year. As the city's population grows, so does the need and the cost to maintain our quality core city services while providing opportunities for business expansion. We welcome hearing from our residents at the budget hearings in the next few weeks. Please contact me with your questions and/or concerns. Thank you.
All right, Mayor, so I think the first order of business would be to, let's maybe just review the special election timeline and staff recommendation for that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those questions again. Mr. Cowles is here from Supervisor Election to answer questions also. So first up would be selecting the date for the special election and the date for the runoff election. Staff is recommending that the special election be held on October 27th. Assuming that's the date that the City Commission selects for the special election, we would begin the notice period beginning tomorrow. The City Clerk has already prepared a notice to be posted and to be published that is required by the Charter and the statute. That period would run from tomorrow, August 5th, until Friday, September 4th, which would be the start of the qualifying period. Our qualifying period for those seeking to run for mayor would be from September 4th, from noon on September 4th to noon on Monday, September 14th is the qualifying period. For any city commissioners who desire to run for mayor, the Resign to Run statute, Florida statutes, requires that you resign from your current position in order to run for mayor. In order to do that, you would need to submit your letter of resignation no later than Tuesday, August 25th. The effective date of your resignation would be whatever date you put in the letter. There's a little bit of concern as to what you put as your effective date. Generally, you want to put it as the date that the new mayor would take office, so that your term does not overlap with the new term or what would have been your new term had you been elected. And I'd be happy to review any resignation letters just to make sure we're in compliance with the statute. But those would need to be submitted by Tuesday, August 25th. And then we would have the qualifying period, again, from September 4th to September 14th. And the election would take place on Tuesday, October 27th. If we had more than 2 people run for mayor and no person received a majority of the votes, we would have a runoff election. And we're recommending that runoff election occur on Tuesday, November 24th. Again, the person elected mayor at the special election would serve for the remainder of Mayor Vandergrift's term, which expires in March. So anyone running for mayor and being elected at the special election would only serve until March. If that person desired to continue, they could run again in the March general election.
I'll make a motion that we approve staff's recommendation for the dates for the general election and for the special election and for the runoff if necessary.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Keller to accept the dates mentioned by the city attorney, and seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Let's vote. Passes unanimous.
I have one question for Scott. Sure. Okay, and this is the part that I want just clarified. If a commissioner elects to run in this special election, they have to resign by August 25th.
They have to submit a letter of resignation by August 25th. The resignation doesn't become effective until the date they put in the letter for it to become effective.
Which means they could put March.
No.
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 Just going to clarify.
Until the election.
Let's be general.
He said election.
Specific.
Yeah, you can't, it can't
It would be
be,
October 27th or October 26th?
yeah, it would be the date that you don't want to put a date specific because you want it to be, to run up until the point of the new mayor being sworn in.
So if we go to a runoff.
So if we go to a runoff, it may be the first week in December before that happens.
Okay.
But it has to be before that, the new mayor takes office.
Okay, no, I'm just asking because then that would bring, if someone did run from
Yes.
here, it would bring it down to a much smaller commission.
Well, no, he would stay in there.
No, I'm saying that, but I'm just saying is that if it was effective that day, it would bring it to a much smaller commission.
Yeah, theoretically, you could submit a letter of resignation and put that very day on it. I hope that wouldn't happen. That'd put us in a little bit of a bind. But you can make that resignation effective at a much later
Effective
date.
the day of the swearing-in of the new mayor.
That's right, yes.
I just like this for food for thought. I think that we, at this point, when things settle down next March, that we need to consider reviewing the charter to clean up some things that
yeah, we
possibly
did
need to be
discuss
cleaned
that.
up.
That's
So
true.
I think that's after March election, but something I think we didn't consider.
Agreed.
I bet you do. I bet you do too.
Sue's my friend, the clerk.
Yeah, there's a few people that are going to think yes.
The other thing we'd bring up is where we have the polling stations at. We talked about it once before, about having it at the Beach Center and having it down at the
Yeah,
firehouse on the
there's
south
two
end.
places to save money.
Yes.
Is that going to happen with?
We have, my understanding is we already have two places, which I guess in past elections, we haven't had more than two locations. And currently, it's the community center and the beach center, is that right?
No, that's not what I just said.
We've had 4.
We've had more
Well,
than that,
we-
but what I'm asking you, and what we talked about, is have one on the south end at the firehouse and have one at the beach center.
In
I
the
thought we talked
past, the
about-
beach center has been,
So not here.
I thought we talked
Right.
Lake Shore and beach. I didn't know we were talking about the
South side.
south side.
We've
The
had them
last
at the
meeting.
firehouse before.
No, I believe we've had them at all of them.
Yeah.
They've all been open.
But I'm asking if we do that.
I don't have any, does anybody have any
Well,
problem?
I think that the issue is if we stray away from what we've done, at least in the last election,
No.
Commissioner, it just opens it up for a challenge.
If you had a problem where we couldn't use this building, you'd be in for a challenge too. I don't think, Bill Mike can tell you, I don't think that's going to be a challenge, as long as you've got a place for them to vote. I mean, it's not to have a controversy over it, but I think
Bill?
we might have this building rented.
I disagree. I think that we need to keep all locations open because we have enough people that always get concerned or confused to
Well,
where they're going to vote. So I'm
We
not
have
in
a lot
favor.
we have a lot of people live on the south side, and they haven't had it there in a while, so,
Is Jeff in? Jeff,
no,
do we know if the Lake Shore Center is booked that day?
you can't tell. Even if it isn't, it could be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we're booked, Jeff, do you know if the bookings, if you can look to see whether on the election day, which is October 27th, it's a Tuesday, Do you know if the Lake Shore Center is booked that day?
That I don't know, but I can certainly check.
Okay. Do we want to wait until we figure out this before we?
I want the location here open, whether it's here or in the next building. You want South Side open and Beach Center, I think we need all three opened. If we're
Do
gonna
three
it.
of them?
Three of them. I think you need one in the center of town. I think you need, I think we've always kept, I said 4 because that was the mall, but the 3, I think stretch it out amongst the whole city.
I don't have a problem with that. I just
Yeah.
have a problem with doing,
We talking about the
Two.
4th was the mall?
yeah, we
It's
don't
kind
need
of
that.
I was going to say, as long as I've been commissioner, mine and the first district have been both at the beach center. So,
Yeah.
I mean, 3 would probably be the max that I
Where-
could see the need.
When was the last time we had
Oh,
3
Beth.
polling locations opened?
I can't remember.
None
I
for
know
a
we've
city
always had
election.
4.
There's never been
It's
more
always
than
4.
2. They've always combined 2 precincts into one polling location.
Since
Yeah.
when?
Since
Where
I've
have
been here,
they- where
I
have they
We've
been?
had them at the firehouse.
Yeah,
We have had it at the firehouse.
And we just moved from the beach center to the Ison Center because
Yeah.
of the presidential election kind of messed everything up.
We used to do it on Adair Street too, that's a different one.
Yeah,
What's the story, I mean, is there,
I'm trying to think, the last time the mayor ran, I thought we had 3 open.
Yeah.
well, it would have been,
When he ran, was it?
Rusty, when your last election,
There were 4.
Well, my last election, I didn't run, it was unopposed, so
Yeah, okay.
6 years ago, but
I thought the,
Joel, you had the
I
beach
thought the
center?
fire station
I
was
had
we
the
had
open.
the
Ison
fire
Center.
station. don't
I
know
thought the
where
fire
we did that.
station was open.
All I'm saying is, if, I like your idea better, is I like the center, the north side of town and the south side.
Yeah.
There's a lot of houses on all the way around that way, so if we decide that, that's what we gotta do. We don't have to have 4, but we can have 3.
Beth?
Madam Clerk?
Let's see. I did discuss it with the Supervisor of Elections Office, and they did strongly suggest that we stay with what we've been doing for the special election. I mean, we can look into changing it for future, but for the special election, that we wouldn't want to look like we were making any changes that might favor a candidate or not, and leave us open for somebody to challenge.
It's not
Because-
favoring a candidate, you got the whole citywide.
Well, that's good.
What are the locations, Beth, that you have talked to Bill about?
So you're, wait a minute.
Make sure the
You're
ice
interfering.
center be
You're
center.
telling me that you're trying to say, if I have it on the south side, then that's my district. But what if it's on the north side, who's running up there?
No, even because the idea that I had was to consolidate it all into
Yeah.
one,
Yeah,
and
you-
and even that would be changing people's location from what they're used to.
Well, we
and you-
changed it from what they were used to because we used to have it on the south side. We didn't have a problem with changes.
I gotta say, Bill, and I don't know if you will remember back the last time the mayor was up for election, because I know he's won a couple, but I'm thinking when he ran against, I thought when he ran against Jim Gleason, at least they had the 3 open.
They did.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, I know we're sort of pushing the stretch it there because it's been a while since Jim has run, but I could have sworn we had the 3 open at that time.
Right, well, I don't know if I can talk to historically about the history of it, but I do know that currently on record with the Elections Office is you have 2 locations for the 4 single-member districts, and so 2 at each site. And that's what the voters of Ocoee have on their voter registration cards about city elections and all. So now, going to March of 15, the city's piggybacking on the presidential preference primary, so at that point, we're using the county polling places, so they go
It's
different.
going to be changed.
Every time that there's been a presidential and you piggyback, you were going to the county polling places for the election because it was a savings to the cities to piggyback on that election. And so again, it depends on what races were on that ballot. The voters may have gone to their county polling place. At this point, especially a special election, I'd be concerned about notification, extra mailings that the city and I will have to talk about for notifying voters of any changes, and you're changing their voting pattern on a short notice, and then I'm going to flip them back to a different situation. So you're talking about voter confusion, where they already know the beach center and here for the combination. So that would be my suggestion, as I talk to the city clerk, is to stay with the way it is and don't try to confuse voters when it's time to go vote in a special election that they weren't prepared for.
I I just think it's a hardship, I think, and maybe most of them will vote absentee, let's hope so anyways. It's a hardship on the...
Well, we'll be taking requests starting tomorrow. As soon as we enter this election on our system.
On the south side of 50, that's why we always had it at the firehouse, because on the south side of 50, there's a lot of voters.
I seem to remember that one being my polling place and not a city one.
That's was.
But that would, and
That's right.
again, we're not even using the fire station now because we've moved down to the Pines of Windermere as the polling place, for that area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't even use it. So I think you're thinking about the time when the election was piggybacking with the presidential election, and you're using my polling places on a countywide
We
election.
used to have it at the firehouse.
Okay.
Right now, I understand we're looking at about $30,000.
So
And
far.
every time you open up additional locations, it's just adding to the cost.
Again, when you open up additional polling places, you're talking about additional poll workers that you'll need, and all. So that's where your expense comes, is with the additional poll workers.
But if you do that, you split it up, you just take some of the poll workers, you'd have to have more than one spot anyway,
And that's your call.
because it's crowded.
Well, I think for the integrity of the voting and the whole mechanism is that we go by what Mr. Collins has to say. I think we should stick with the two, Rusty.
With the beach and with the community center.
I know you don't, but I think for the fairness of the voters in the city and what we've been doing in the same routine, because everything's a routine nowadays, so.
I'll make that
And we
motion.
don't want anybody to challenge anything either, because that will just take it all the way to the general election. So,
The Lakeshore Center is available.
okay. We
Just
have
so
a
you
motion
know,
on the board
I have a motion.
your motion is to,
Motion is to, going with the two polling locations, which would be the Lakeshore Center and the Beach Center. Did they say both beach centers open? Yes. It is? Okay. Okay, Zoom?
As much as I would prefer the three, I will take the second to that, since Bill is saying that it would be better if we keep it consistent. I think I like Rusty's idea better, where we would have three, but I don't need the legal challenge down the road after the election, so
Right.
I'll make the second.
And I agree with that, Joel. I mean, I do agree with you on that, but I have to come back to, this is costing us $30,000, it could be plus, and as I keep equating it to, that's 6 speed bumps. Just lost.
Well, the thing is, though, I think when we take a look at the charter after March, I think this is something also, because I think we are doing a disservice to the people south of 50 if they have to come all the way up here every time, and we don't have a polling place down by them. So hopefully after this, we can get that changed so that we will have a polling place in that area.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Wilson to have the two polling places and stay consistent with the voting passed in the city, and is seconded by Commissioner Keller. Let's vote. Passes unanimous.
The TV's not working, just FYI. My wife just texted me and said, I can't see you. So we're not on TV out there.
We're not, the TV's off?
Well, we're not on our channel, let's put it that way. So I don't know if it's Bright House's problem or our issue, but you can't see us on TV.
Okay, moving on to presentations. We have Kristen Keeley here from the NYC Dance Company. Can you please come up and talk about your group? All the kids, come on up. All the kids can go right here in the front, and you can speak. Just go to the podium and your name and address, please. All the little girls, get up front so we can take your pictures.
My name is Kristen Keeley. I live at 1480 Hempel Avenue, Windermere, Florida. As I said, my name is Kristen Keeley. I am the owner and director of NYC Dance. And I'm very proud to say that we have been in Ocoee for 10 years. And this city is amazing, and I want to thank you guys for recognizing us. My team and I went all the way to Branson, Missouri, and we represented Ocoee, and we came home national champions. And we went against, yes, it was huge. We went against over 100 dance studios across the country, and to come home first place Victory Cup champions is really huge. And to say that we're from Ocoee, Florida is even bigger. We are, for anyone that is interested, we do recreational classes, non-competitive, competitive. We take them at 18 months old. We will have a big open house at Ocoee, our Ocoee location, on Saturday, April 15th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if anybody wants to come out, we will have magicians, we will have some food trucks, we will get you to meet the teachers and all that good stuff. But I just want to say how proud I am of you guys, and we did it. Ocoee, we're national champs in Ocoee. How cool is that? Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Gogan, the mayor.
One more time, what was the open house?
Yeah.
It is on August 15th. Yes, August 15th, Saturday, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Make sure you let me know about that so I
I will.
can keep telling it.
For sure.
And I'd like to say something too about that. Commissioner Johnson and I were in Wyoming at the time, conducting city business, and that's when the girls were dancing. And they were streaming them live through the internet, which was really cool, because my daughter is out there, and I was able to watch her. Not that I could pick her out of. This is half of the kids, I think, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this
It
is only half of them.
It is.
So,
We took over 50 kids
What
with
was
us and their
excellent
families.
is that every single time that the kids got up to dance, and they had a lot of dances, they mentioned Ocoee. They didn't mention Central Florida or anything. They specifically said Ocoee, Florida, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and they broadcasted people from Tokyo, Australia, all over the country, all over the world, internationally, where they were all watching.
That was
So
excellent.
it was pretty awesome.
And you guys did a great job.
We also won Viewer's Choice, and we got over 10,000 votes for one of our routines, and that was
And that's
from...
with people online voting
Yep,
for
they were
the
able to vote
dances?
for us,
How
so-
many different dance studios were there?
There was over 100 dance studios
Wow,
competing. Yeah,
fantastic.
pretty awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember sitting there watching it, all and they kept doing all their dances, they probably did about 30 dances. Oh, Florida. It was awesome. This is real Yeah, you know, I mean, I think
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Good job, girls. Don't abandon me already. Jeez.
Mayor's Congress.
There's still room up there for you.
I got two, excuse me, we're just the little people over here. Yeah, the little people over here, sorry. We have, John, I got 2.5 months of this.
God help me.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have pleasure.
See, you're gonna be a referee.
You don't seem to understand, bring it back. Well, wait for him to clear.
We want to take a 5-minute recess?
We lost a few people.
I think so. Better pay them and bring them
Martha,
back.
you could join us at a regular chair now.
Better bring them back.
What happened to everybody? Yeah. John, your whole audience just left.
I should have saved that till last. I thought they were all here for me. No. Okay, moving on. Comments from the citizens and the public. Do we have anybody that is, no comments from the citizens?
Go on.
That's not on the agenda. Well, name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Paul Vandergrift. The place might be haunted. Yeah, you might know my uncle, who actually my great uncle was Webster Calhoun, so that was the other mayor. But anyhow, 1405 Spring Lake Terrace is the address. June 5th, my mom passed away, who had been she actually met my dad at Ocoee High School when she was a senior. But she has a property that we're selling, and we'd like to offer it to the City of Ocoee first before we put it on the market. And we've had an appraisal. It's a 6-acre lot. There are 2 lots, actually. One is it's on Ridgeview. The other is the Spring Lake Terrace, and it borders Spring Lake. And it's be a beautiful place for a passive park. And so I just wanted to, I have the appraisal. If you would like a copy, I can email it to you. Appraisal on both properties. Come here. Yeah, we had it appraised as a public park, not as a commercial space. We've actually been told we could get quite a bit more for it as a development, but it's a beautiful place. And what is the Arbor Day saying? City of Trees?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, if you haven't been down there, if you go down there.
Now, is that across from the beach center, more or less, kitty corner across from the beach center?
It's down the end of Fluellen.
Yeah, it's at the
Okay.
very end of
Yeah, okay.
Fluellen, yeah, very end, exactly.
Okay.
So, yeah, you all talk about it and let me know.
Yeah, could you please send that along, at least send it to our manager,
Yes.
Rob
So
Frank?
that's 6 acres?
Well, it says, the appraisal says there's 6 acres, 4 of it dry, and the other 2 are in the
Yeah.
lake, I suppose, so, yeah.
I guess
Right.
that,
And then there's a separate lot that is on Ridgefield?
Ridgefield.
Ridgefield, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I hope it works out for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for driving up here.
Commissioner Wilson.
yeah, I just want to make a comment at this point that I'm not in favor of a commission purchasing that property. I don't believe that's a location for a park. We have a park around the other side of the lake that's in Silver Glen. And I can tell you that the neighbors that are around there are not interested in the park. They've come, some of them have already approached me, and they do not want the traffic or the, whatever comes with the park. And it's on the end of a road that is pretty secluded back there. So I'm just going to let you know that I'm not in favor of this. I'll be happy to see the appraisal, thank you.
Okay.
But I'm not at all in favor of the city moving in that direction.
Okay. Thank you. They do know that they can, 4 acres, you could probably fit how many houses? So,
Well, but they do not want a park, and
Right.
I don't think,
well, I mean,
again,
traffic-wise,
we're also, I don't think we're really in a position to make that purchase.
okay, thank you. We'll bring it up at another
Please,
meeting.
thank you.
And on to the consent agenda.
Prior to that, Mr. Mayor, just one
Oh, I'm
brief,
sorry.
that's
Staff
all right, just
reports.
one brief change to the agenda. On the consent agenda number 5, small error, should note a 2016 ambulance, not 2015. The paperwork in the backup material is correct. It's just the title that had the wrong year on it.
Thanks, Rob. I skipped over the staff reports. Do we
That's all right, I
any?
have nothing else.
Okay. Commissioners' announcements? Commissioner Keller?
None at this time?
Commissioner Johnson?
None at this time.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes, early on in the meeting, I'd just like to make this announcement for any residents who are listening, that on August 6th at 6:30 at the Lakeshore Center, which is right behind City Hall, there will be a meeting regarding the Montgomery Road, the park area that we have been I guess, maintaining, clearing, that there's going to be discussion regarding that park, so I'd like to see anyone that has an interest in that or has any concerns or interests or opinions to please come to that meeting, 6:30 PM, Lakeshore Center, which is, again, right behind us at City Hall, on the 6th of August at 6:30 PM.
Is that noticed for all the commission, or is?
I believe it is. Beth, has it been noticed? It's, Recreation Department has put out the information on it.
Okay.
Have you noticed it?
This is the first I heard of it.
It is, huh?
Yes.
Is Jeff still here, or is Jeff in the back? Yes? I have been out walking some of the neighborhoods around there, leaving them the flyer, and it's regarding the FERDAP grant. So, right? Okay, so
Yes, it is.
I guess we assume I assumed it was noticed.
Yes, it has been advertised. It's not a public hearing, it's a public meeting, just informational meeting. It's one of the requirements that we have to go through in completing the FERDAP application.
I'm sure you'll get some opinions.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I have nothing at this time. Now we move on to the consent agenda.
We have two items on the consent agenda. Items number 9 and number 10 have resolutions that accompany those items, so I'd like to read the title of those resolutions before any action on the consent agenda. First one is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, authorizing the submission of a Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program grant application to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Agency for the 2016-2017 program year. Second one is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a railroad reimbursement agreement between the city and the Florida Department of Transportation for municipal-grade crossing traffic control devices on Sawmill Boulevard. Those were items 9 and 10.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Keller. Let's vote. Motion carries, unanimous. On to the regular agenda. Okay. Can we have Al come up, please? It's consideration to waive the residency requirement for reappointment to the Human Relations Diversity Board. Can you tell us a little background, first of all?
Yes, Human Relations Diversity Board was established originally in 2003, and it was set up to bring together groups from throughout this part of the county. It was originally stimulated by the work of the West Orange Reconciliation Task Force. And so when the group was organized, the thought was that there might be an occasional need to bring in people from organizations that were maybe not residents of the city, for example, religious or ethnic organizations, and that you would want a representative from that group that may be partnering with the city on events. You know, we had the Fiesta de Colores, and you might have people from the Latin community participating in that. So when it was founded, it was set up so that we had an exception. Currently, we have 2 people who are not residents of the city. Both of those have business connections and provide material and support for activities. One is the chair, and the other was recently the secretary of the organization. She essentially lives across the street from the city, and that would be annexed pretty soon. So it's really fairly rare that we would have somebody from outside the city on this board. Even though that exception is in there, it's really for specific functional purposes rather than just general support.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Comment more than question, but I tend to think you also have 10 of the 13 positions filled, I believe, on the board right now.
Yes, and you just actually appointed 11th person in the consent agenda.
Yeah, so I'm really, if the board was really lacking, and I think at times it has gotten down to where there was a lack of people, so it made it hard to have a quorum. Anymore, I think 11 out of 13 with today's appointment. I don't necessarily know that we really need to go outside of the city. I would much rather have people from inside the city. on that board. I know District 3 probably has the least number on that board right now. So you should, I would rather see some people from District 3 involved, or maybe District 1, I think, is the next low there, before I'd be looking to fill the positions outside of the city. So I
Any more
don't know if we just need to let it die, or if we actually have to make a motion not to accept. I'm assuming we can just let this die.
I'm sure this individual has, I mean, they've put time into that board, but I do agree with you that if you don't have, right now at this point, if you don't have any,
Connection
You have
to the
zero?
Special interest or...
you have 0 from District 4?
From District 3.
District 3 has 0,
And I got one.
and you have 1.
Yeah, basically, the
means-
board, you and I.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You're
that.
our districts.
I would tend to like to see that you would be able to get some members from your districts that might like to be involved, that maybe don't know about it, maybe featuring a little bit more on the website, that those openings are there. I think we worked very low at one time, and you're right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that when we did go outside, but at this point, it's very difficult to do that, especially when you say that you have 0 and 1.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson, you're nothing?
What about it?
I don't know, do you have any comments on it? No. Okay, do we need to make a motion and actually vote this out, or?
Well, I think an appropriate motion would be not to waive the residency requirement for the service on the board.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Keller,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Wilson, to not waive the residency to be a member of the board. Let's vote.
Wait a minute. What are you going to do about the other people that are on there that are not living in the city?
They were appointed in that condition. That condition was waived. It's fairly rare that we've had people leave the city and then apply for membership. But the other two that are there have business connections or had those connections and continue to support
What
the
business they
activities. Well, our Callaway was the manager of Publix, and he continues to work with Publix and the committee to provide free food and drinks and services for things like the Fiesta de Colores and for the...
He retired from Publix.
He retired from Publix, but he still has those connections that he's able to get things for the MLK parade and that sort of thing.
And I
And
believe...
the other person
The other
lives
person is Ben
across the
Callaway.
street from the city, within the city,
And they're going to annex
but
it.
not within the city, unincorporated within the city.
You're not scared about getting sued, are you?
She was recruited by then Chairman Bill Maxwell, and she has been active in a number of programs and currently serves as the secretary of the organization.
Well,
Both of those were appointed in that status by the city commission.
The code provides for exceptions if the city commission.
Well, we got a motion, we have a second. Let's vote.
well, so what's the
The motion is to not waive the residency requirement in this one instance.
so to not waive it means a yes is
Yes
a-
is to not
To
waive
not
it.
waive it.
Yes, not waive it, you
That
should
she's
be
not a
able to be on
resident,
the
she
board.
cannot be on the
Okay,
board.
well, I guess I'm having second thoughts at this point.
Based on what the board looks like, either way you vote, it's going to vote down because there isn't going to be enough to pass it with a tie.
Tie is a no, it has to be a
I haven't looked up
3 vote.
that. Okay, my no would be that I'm,
I would only say that the situation here, what's different about this is that she was a past member but moved out of the city and now wants to come back. At the time that everybody that was outside the city was voted onto this board was, how long ago, Al?
It was several years ago.
It was years ago.
they were in the city. They were all in the city, and now, okay.
No, the two people that are not in the city now, the unincorporated who's coming into the city, in the city limits, and the other one has business ties to the city, that was done at a time that they needed a quorum, correct? They were very low on
Yeah.
personnel.
Basically.
And I think we made the exception then?
Basically, at the time, I want to say we had 5 members on the board. At one point, we were down, so it was extremely hard to get a quorum.
Correct.
We had some interest from people like Ira, who was very interested. I was very brought something to the city, if you will. So that I think that was the reason they were put on. I don't think we've appointed anybody recently.
I don't think are there any other boards that have any members from outside the city?
I think this is the only board that actually allows it.
That allows it.
Okay.
This was more to be able to establish liaison relationships with people and
Right, and we do not have any personnel that does not have anything to bring to the board that's not on the board from outside the
Basically,
city.
moving forward, we're not going to go ahead and appoint anyone from outside the city,
If they're,
unless they're a business
as-
relationship.
Yeah, as is explained, unless they have a business relationship or something that they can favor the board with for future events or whatever.
Only way to do it is do it all the way across. You're favoring one way and not another way. It's not
do you
a-
want us to bring you that item in the future? To amend the,
We could bring it back to amend it,
I
yeah.
mean, I tend now to going with Rusty, that it's either all or none. So I don't know, I didn't vote yes. I haven't looked behind me to see who voted which way. That doesn't faze me to see who voted which way, but it's all or nothing.
A revote? What do you mean by that?
Does that mean yes or no? You're getting me confused.
So if you vote yes, you're not waiving the residency requirement. A vote no would essentially mean you're okay with
Anybody outside the
waiving.
city can join the board if you vote no.
That's the way you got it now.
See,
People
that's-
can join the
that's-
board. That's what I'm saying. We got to change, if you got to do it, you got to change it all together.
You gotta change
You got to
it.
make, this is,
Yeah, but I believe that what's written is not what the intent was, is what we're discussing. We're discussing the intent of why that was done.
We know what the intent is.
This is the one board that allows for non-residents to be part of the board, but those non-residents, the reason for that was to bring in people who had some connection to the city or could offer some benefit to the city. We don't have any other non-residents serving on any other boards. So we could certainly look at closing the residency requirement, or requiring the residency requirement on this board, and those people who are outside the city now, when their terms expire, just wouldn't have the opportunity to come back onto the board, if that's what the commission wanted to do. I think there's legitimate reasons for including certain people on this particular board that are not residents. So I think it's justifiable why you may have some non-residents, but if commission feels otherwise and it should only be residents, then we can look at revising that particular board.
Well, I look at the intent, that the intent of this was not as a person. We don't, certainly we don't want people outside the city for any given reason other than just to join this board. The only reason, in my thoughts, would be to bring something to this diversity board that the city does not have, or that someone in the city cannot provide for this board. So I'm going with the intent of what it means and not the verbiage of it myself.
But the problem we got is, the intent, what we'd be saying is, if you'll give us something, or you can bring us something, we'll take you on the board, no matter where you live.
Well,
We need to change what.
Technically,
Well,
that's
let me
actually true,
finish.
yeah.
I know, but what I'm saying is, what we need to do is change that. If you're going to do that, change it where it says the reason you're doing it. So, I mean, if we did it where we allow people from out of town, then you're going to say, well, if you can just say you're tied to something else that you might bring to us, we'll let you come on. That's not something we should do. You know.
I understand
mean,
what
get
you're
the
saying.
benefits out of it.
I think we can bring you some draft language for you to consider in the future to try to address those issues, maybe.
I would say that I would hope that the board would make would be the one that says, we'll back this person, that this, or they won't back that person for this thing, you know?
So what if we were to put this vote off to the next commission meeting, have someone from that staff, from that board come in and discuss it with us? And in the meantime, possibly for future's sake, work on the language?
Or work on the language and come back with it, and then let's see, you know.
Adopt the language.
Well, their next meeting will be Thursday night this week.
So you can discuss that with them and make sure
Discuss it
somebody
with
represents
and,
them?
see if they want to come. For example, one of the things that they need.
Or at least something in writing, Al,
Right, right.
whatever they can do.
They had also considered making a presentation relative to the budget process for the International Cultural Exposition.
That's better.
Yeah.
No.
So-
Okay. So is this a no vote? We just erase the votes?
Basically, it ended in.
We have a 2-2,
So it's-
2-2 tie, so it doesn't pass.
It doesn't
Okay.
pass.
All right?
Okay, Al, can you bring that back to
The
us?
next one, yes, sir.
So, all right.
We'll come back with new language, we'll come back
Language.
with a recommendation from the board, and maybe even a presentation, but at least a recommendation from the board,
Okay.
and the new language on that to specifically say what the intent is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Al. Comments from the commission? Or do we have any staff action items?
No, sir.
Comments from the commission? Commissioner Wilson?
Just again to remind, Thursday, 6:30 PM at the Lake Shore Center regarding the Montgomery Road Park. And if anyone doesn't know where that is, it's just this side of Ashton Park between, basically between Texas Roadhouse and Orlando Avenue, White Road.
Thank you. Commissioner
Did
Johnson?
Jeff leave?
If that's clear as mud, I'm.
Jeff?
On this park action, that'll be, I won't be here at 6, I'll be out of town. So I'd like to make sure before we do any final stuff on this, it comes to us and we see what proposal. We're going to get suggestions from the citizens, I know. It's going to be an open park for everybody?
Yes, it's intended to be a neighborhood park, similar to what you would see like at Prairie Lake Park.
Prairie Lake Park?
Yeah, yeah. We do have, well, you should have a conceptual plan in your packet.
We're going to dig a lake?
Yeah. No, unfortunately, there isn't a lake associated with this park,
No.
but it's going to have many of the features
Right,
that a neighborhood park would
So
have.
all right, I'd like, yeah.
I
it's
believe
easy.
this is the FERDAP grant.
The what?
It's called FERDAP. We got that grant when we were doing the pool. It's those letters.
$50,000 or something
But this
like
one's
that?
50,000, but I believe you have, the advisory board reviewed everything and
Yes.
were in favor of it, and now it goes before the residents. I think that's part of the process, right, for
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
It's all these letters, but we use that, we did get, when I was back on the recreation board before I became commissioner, we did get that FERDAP grant for the pool.
Yeah.
So, many of us were on the recreation board for years ago, remember that acronym, but this is part of the process.
Yes, yes. The grant application requires us to go through several steps. One of the steps is to conduct a public meeting. Another one is to present it to the advisory board, and then also make a presentation to a community group, and I will be doing that tomorrow morning at the Rotary Club meeting at 7 o'clock.
All right. We do.
Thank you, Jeff. Commissioner Keller?
No comments other than congratulations, John, on your, Mayor Grogan, for your first meeting there.
I'm glad it was easy.
And look at the time.
Yeah, and you really moved it through, so I want to say thank you.
Don't get
Thank God for a consent agenda, right?
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing, is that please don't forget out there, the budget workshops are coming up this month, and that's when the public comes to voice their opinions and talk to us about what we're spending your money on. I believe the first one is going to be the 12th, and the second would be the 31st. Did we keep the 31st?
Did we not approve the 19th, I think, as the second one?
Yes.
Okay, so we got the 12th and the 19th, both on Wednesday,
Yep.
and be happy to see you there. Thank you. Adjourned. 7 o'clock.
No,
I've got
6
7.
PM. Don't close the meeting yet, 6 PM.
6 PM to workshop.
Okay, mine says 7.
Oh, you would be late for one of your
Oh, I'm sure I would.
appearances.
Okay, so that's 6 o'clock, the budget workshop, the 12th and the 19th.
Then the 9th, yeah, then go into September, the 9th and the 21st. Public hearings.
Yep. And we'll discuss that then. Okay? We good? Adjourned.
Oh, come on, give us a little more.